Joining us now, NBC's Aaron Gilchrist at the White House, Barrett Berger, a former federal prosecutor, David Drucker, senior writer at the Dispatch. So, Aaron, what's the White House saying about this email to more than 2 million federal workers over the weekend?
Well, Jose, the response across the administration has been somewhat varied. You had Elon Musk saying over the weekend, telegraphing that this email was going to be going out, saying that it was going out from him and his team at the direction of President Trump through the Office of Personnel Management. The Office of Personnel Management has said that this is about accountability and efficiency. It stood behind this email going out across the federal government, across so many different agencies that have federal workers, and said that they wanted to have a summary of the work that these folks are doing, or did last week, I should say, and that any additional steps that would come as a result of those 5 bullet points would be actions taken by individual agencies. At the same time, we saw some of those individual agencies, the FBI, the State Department, the Department of Defense, and others telling their employees, either hold on, don't respond to this just yet, or don't respond to this at all, for various different reasons that were laid out. And then there were other agencies that said, yes, this is a valid email from OPM. You need to respond to it by midnight tonight. And as you might imagine, Jose, that has created some confusion for a lot of federal workers wondering, what is this? I've never had to send an email like this before. Others who are concerned that responding to that email then gives someone, maybe at OPM, maybe Elon Musk and his team, a list of things that they can sort of pin and say these are not sufficient for the job that you have, and therefore you should be terminated. So that the chaos and confusion is something that really resulted again over the weekend from this email. And of course, we've heard from Democrats saying that they believe that this is not only unusual, but it's cruel and arbitrary, creating a lot of chaos for federal workers, Jose.
Yeah, I mean, David, as Aaron was mentioning, there have been a variety of responses from different government agencies within the Trump administration. I mean, the FBI, State Department, a few others have instructed their employees, as Aaron was telling us, not to respond. How do you read that, David?
Well, you would hope that the FBI, the DOJ, intelligence agencies would tell their employees not to respond, because we don't want to prejudice federal investigations or reveal sources and methods for intelligence gathering. I mean, it just shows you, in a sense, how haphazard a lot of the Musk Department of Government Efficiency work has been, where they're just slashing and they're not being strategic and they're not explaining. Now, I will say, politically, I think a lot of Americans may look at this and say, I've had some pretty annoying bosses over the years, or I have a boss that I may like, and I have to regularly explain what I'm doing, what I'm accomplishing, maybe more than just once a week or once a year, but every day. And so I don't think you're going to get a lot of sympathy politically for this idea that federal workers are being treated more like private sector workers. But again, to my first point, the government is not a private sector business, and there's a reason why you can't just reveal this because somebody high up is asking. I think this might be easier for Americans that are concerned. It might be easier if the administration was presenting more of an explanation for the strategy behind this than simply cut and explaining why this was going to improve services. But until this thing really impacts Americans adversarially, right, it hurts their quality of life, it hurts a program they depend on, I think that there's some goodwill for this idea that somebody needs to get into the government and figure out how to make it work better, because most Americans, left, right, and center, they may have different reasons, but they don't believe government works well enough for them.
And David, do you see there is a line or a moment in which that general American thought about how their government is run and how it is, the bureaucracy runs in our country, is there, you think, a line where they would say this is just too much?
I don't know that they would say that. I think it just has to impact them, and it's hard to predict, how that would impact them, right? I mean, I could come up with an example here, right? I mean, let's say that, the Food and Drug Administration, that a lot of staff is cut, that a lot of programs are cut, or the things that it does are cut. And then if there's, some crisis involving the things that oversees that hits Americans, that would be a problem. At the FBI, where Kash Patel, the new director, wants to implement a lot of changes, right? I mean, I think Americans may or may not be supportive, but if there's, something that happened on his watch, on the president's watch, that people felt shouldn't have happened, then there are going to be questions. It sort of gets us back to that pre-9/11 way of looking at the intel community, where they didn't talk to each other. And that came out of the 1970s and 80s, and this feeling that the intel agencies were too powerful. We didn't want them talking to each other because we felt like they were infringing too much on our civil liberties. 9/11 happens, and what did everybody say? Why didn't this agency know what this agency knew? So maybe they could have stopped the attack or done something about it. And so that's the sort of thing that tends to happen.
Yeah. And Barrett, meanwhile, the top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, Congressman Jerry Connolly, slammed what he called these Musk email threat, and he called it illegal. Is there anything, Barrett, illegal in this?
Well, I guess that depends on who you're asking. I mean, possibly. I think it depends on who has the authority to make demands of federal employees and what the repercussions are. Look, I agree with David that it may be a perfectly legitimate government goal to want to have a better understanding of what individuals in the federal workforce are doing. But the execution of this email was terrible and seems to have been sent out with almost no coordination from the actual agency heads who were appointed by this administration. We don't know who has the authority to make the request. We don't know who's actually tasked to review these responses. And that's where, there's potentially a huge national security threat. I mean, you can really see why responding to this email would be dangerous for so many federal agencies and why we see some of these heads pushing back. Obviously, any agency where employees are working on sensitive matters should not be sharing broad data about their daily activities outside of their own agency. And again, we don't know who. Is it somebody from DOJ? Is it somebody from OPM that's reviewing these emails? And even if they don't actually contain classified information, sort of the aggregation of all of agency employees' work details would be a huge security threat. I mean, if somebody was to get access to activities of over 2 million federal employees working details, that would be, a national security threat, just plain and simple.
Yeah, although Barrett, Musk sent out a subsequent message that those that work in sensitive agencies or in departments, should not include sensitive information. That was
correct. Although my point
after.
is right. But even if it's not national security data or, information that's protected by, 6E, if you're working for the Department of Justice, even regular information, the aggregation of that, if you have 2 million employees sharing what, even if it's not sensitive, if you put it all together, all of a sudden that becomes sensitive information because now you have a map of what the entire federal workforce is doing, what their priorities are. If this falls into the wrong hand, that absolutely is a national security risk.
And Aaron, meanwhile, President Trump also announced his pick for the second in command at the FBI. What more are we learning about why the president picked Dan Bongino?
Well, this was an announcement that the president made via his Truth Social platform last night, saying that Kash Patel, the new FBI director, had chosen Dan Bongino as his deputy director. Dan Bongino did post about this last night as well, thanking the president and the FBI director. He also spoke about this, I understand, just a few minutes ago on his podcast. I think we have some of that we can play for you now.
So, President, Attorney General Bondi, and now director, gosh, that sounds good to say, FBI director Kash Patel offered this role, a role I expressed an interest in. And ladies and gentlemen, I told you, you see, it's hard for me. I'm going to accept the role.
Now, you noted, Jose, that Dan Bongino is a popular conservative podcaster. That is something that we know President Trump has shown an affinity for. And so this former police officer, former Secret Service agent is now going to be the deputy director at the FBI. And there's been some pushback to that, some objection from lawmakers, from the FBI Agents Association, because typically the person in that role is a career FBI person, someone who's been around for a while, because they are in charge of the day-to-day operations of the Bureau, the bureaucracy part of what happens here, not just somebody who's a political appointee who is going to be responsive solely to the president as a political appointee. And so there are concerns, Jose, that he's not someone who's got experience with running a large federal agency.